Hi there, and welcome back to Dementia Diaries with Bingby. It's been a while, I know, talk about crazy schedules and just a very busy life. But I'm so happy that I'm able to squeeze out time this morning before setting out to bring you another episode. So today I'm going to bring you into the world of two residents of mine. I'm going to name the female Sweetie, and the male is going to be Cheyenne. Um, Theirs is a very funny story. All right, so Sweetie came into the community, but she was friends with Cheyenne's wife. And she was excited to meet him when they came in, and they immediately became friends. And at some point, I think she started feeling guilty for whatever reason, and she kept saying, "Oh, I don't want to do this, but it seems like, something is happening, but I'm a good person." I was like, "Oh, no, I know you're a good person and nothing is going to happen. I know you're just friends." Anyway, the relationship went on, and at some point, she started to actually think that they were married. Don't forget we're dealing with dementia. So she, for some reason, because they spent time together, she started to believe that they were married. And every time we would try to redirect her and let her understand, no, this is actually someone else's husband and all of that. So as my job requires, I would go into visits, with them in the rooms and all of that. So I visited with her and I got to look at her family album, and I saw some similarities between her late husband, who I'm going to name Sean, okay, and Cheyenne. So they both have facial hair. They're about the same height, maybe 5'4", 5'5", Anyway, so at some point, anyway, in the journey, because we've been on this for a long time, we had to take Cheyenne away to a different wing so that they would see less of each other, and the confusion would reduce. But once in a while, we have activities that make us bring people together. So we started bringing them together, and then when it's time to go back their separate ways, and there's always one drama or the other. All right. So before I go any further, I'm going to show you something. I have an apple and I have a grapefruit. Apple and grapefruit. So take note of that. All right. So anyway, I decided at some point, on one of those episodes when we brought in Cheyenne to come watch a movie on the wing where we have Sweetie. And then when it was time for him to go back, we had to go into the drama, the usual drama of trying to explain that, hey, he's not your husband. So I went ahead and got the album from her room, and I said, okay, I'm going to ask these questions. You just follow me. So I opened her family album and I showed Sean to Cheyenne, and I said, do you know who is here? And Cheyenne said, I don't. And I said, what's your name? He said, Cheyenne. So I said, are you Sean? He said, no. And she kept looking like, what is this man talking about? So I turned to her and I said, sweetie, I don't understand that you think this is your husband, but he is not. Sean passed. And then she looked and said, did you pass? At that point, I knew what I was dealing with. It was a case of apple and orange grapefruit not making any difference. Whether it's an apple or it's a grapefruit, there's no difference to her. So sometimes, for people with dementia, it makes no difference who is their first child, their second child, their third child. They forget things like that. It makes no difference who says, I'm your friend, or I'm your sister, or I'm your neighbor. They just see people, and we become random people to them. They may not really be able to connect the dots, as far as, like what the relationship is between you and them. It can be painful when your family member doesn't remember you. It can be painful when you are trying so hard, with bringing up when you're citing things that you're feeling will be able to help them remember the connection, but they're just not able to. Don't forget, I defined it from the very beginning that it is a degenerative condition. The brain cells continue to eat up, and there's nothing we can do. So how do you respond to this when your father or your mother or your aunt, your uncle doesn't remember who you are, or your friend doesn't remember who you are, should you be hurt? No. I think that's when you want to visit them more. That's when you want to hug them more. That's when you want to bring with you, when you're visiting with them, pictures you've taken together, so that when you sit down with them, you can actually talk to them. You can help them. Like once in a while, when I sing with my mom, she responds to singing. So for my sweetie, whether it's an apple or it's a grapefruit, it doesn't make any difference. She's just with somebody who makes her happy. She's just with somebody who reminds her of who she used to be married to, and she believes that that's her husband. She strongly believes. So what we did in our community was just to separate the two. But once in a while, of course, we bring them together because we always have activities that bring the two wings of the building together, and you're not able to stop people from communicating with one another. But just experiencing that and realizing that she's not making up this story, she's not trying to take someone else's husband. It is just because she believes in her mind. That's what her mind tells her. So I got to understand that, oh, okay, so this is what has been going on. And now we know that it doesn't make any difference whether it's an apple or a grapefruit. They just see what they see, okay? And so just before I go, I'm going to add lend my voice to the end brutality that is going on in Nigeria. And I'm going to ask us, to take a walk into the world of people with dementia, and imagine that we have our mothers or our fathers who have strayed into the streets without our knowledge. And they meet with a police officer, a SARS officer, a mobile police, a soldier who has no understanding of dementia. And for some reason, they feel insulted by our parents and they are flogged. They are ridiculed. They are told to lay in the gutter. They are told, to frog jump. And if they don't understand what frog jump is, they start to whip them with their horse whip or their belts. We have to stop brutality. We have to, because it's not an answer to anything. And before we can stop brutality, we've got to also advocate better orientation for our law enforcement officers. They deserve better. They do not deserve to be trained like animals, because when you train them like animals, they see the rest of us as animals. So let us continue to sorosoke. We can't. We have come too far. And if we stop now, it's going to be worse, because we are all going to be their targets. They're all going to see us as enemies, and we do not want that to happen. All right, I'm excited I was able to do this morning. And until next time, stay safe and keep sorosokeing. Bye.